Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I know that I did change the date of the live from tomorrow to today. I'm so sorry for doing that or for any inconvenience that caused. And I see that some of you are getting on. So if you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box. And while we're waiting a few minutes for people to come in, so like I did last not last week, but like 2 weeks ago on our last live, I had prepared chocolate chip cookie dough in the freezer, and then we baked it after we finished our recipe. So today I thought that we would put these in the oven first. So my oven has been preheating for the past like 10 or 15 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So that will be in the information box, the description, once this video is available for replay. But I'm going to go ahead and place these in the oven. And then while these bake, we're going to go ahead and prepare our birthday cake, Circus Birthday Cake Cookies. Let me know what you think of that name. I think it's a little bit too long, but take a look at the cookies. Think of a name and let me know what we should name these cookies. And I'm going to put them right in the oven for 15 minutes. And you might have seen that there was two sizes of cookies on there. There was like a giant size and then smaller ones. So I'm going to show you how to make both. And let me just put a timer for 15 minutes. And we're going to get started. So today, I think you guys can hear me, right? Let's see. I think so. So for today, I have my ingredients already measured out. And like we did last week, we are starting with cold butter. So I have my butter. I went ahead and chopped it into tiny little squares. I'm just going to pop it right from the fridge into the microwave for about 5 or 6 seconds. And basically what we want to do this for is, I know that a lot of you have, I read in the comments that you have a problem with the consistency of your butter. So in order to prevent that and in order to minimize the steps that you're taking, for example, like saying like, oh, take it out, I don't know, 30 minutes before, we just pop it right in cold from the refrigerator to the oven. So it kind of saves you time. And it's a recipe that you can do in case you forgot to take out your ingredients. You can still do it and you don't have to wait for your ingredients to come to room temperature. So I'm adding in my white sugar and my brown sugar. And in case you've noticed, this recipe is very similar, if not identical, to the one that we used for our chocolate chip cookie batter. So what I've done over the years is I've actually tested out different amounts of white sugar and brown sugar and tested out the difference. So usually when you add more white sugar to your dough recipe, you end up with a flatter cookie versus adding more brown sugar than white sugar. It gives you a little bit more of structure. I think that's the word. So that's the reason why I'm using this base, because we did discuss 2 weeks ago that we wanted to make filled cookies. And I actually have a surprise for you guys. Well, actually two. I have another idea for filled cookies. This was kind of like a hybrid filled cookie, but we're going to fill these cookies with the Circus animal cookies, and it's not something ooey and gooey. So for the next time that we do make this, I'm going to turn this on medium for 5 minutes. So the next time that we make filled cookies, I want to make a red velvet cookie stuffed with cream cheese. So let me know what you guys think in the little chat box. Do you think that's a good idea? Um, and I would definitely want to have it out before Christmas so you can test it out for Christmas. And then if it works out and you like it, you could use it for Valentine's Day. Um, and another reason why I really like this recipe is because, like I said, the base, which is this that we're making before we add in any of the mix-ins, is very sturdy. So if you wanted to make, like for example, if you wanted to offer like those little, what are they called? Ice cream sandwich cookies, because you just wanted to add them to your menu, or if you're having a small gathering and you wanted to make ice cream sandwiches, this is the perfect base because you'll get a sturdy cookie, and when you add the ice cream, it's not going to make your cookie mushy, if that makes sense. And here, also another thing that I want to mention to you guys is that sometimes when you're making dough, this is the part where you get impatient. So when you're mixing the first three ingredients, which is usually, and a lot of recipes are very different, but it's usually eggs, butter, and sugar. You want to make sure that when you're doing that, you get to a point where you no longer see pieces of butter, like not too big. And you also want your mixture to not double, but just grow in size, because essentially the eggs in the batter or in the dough is what's going to make your cookie a little bit fluffier. So we want to make sure that we get to that consistency. And you'll also notice that when a recipe calls for this step, your recipe is, or your batter is going to start losing color. So when you first mix all of this together, the color is a little bit darker, and you're going to end up with a lighter shade of brown, and that's exactly what we're going for. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. And when you're making this recipe, this is what you're looking for. So you can still feel the grains of the sugar, but we have a fluffy batter. And one thing that I did change in this recipe versus the ones that went in the oven was actually adding in white chocolate chips, because in the original one, I just added in marshmallows, but I feel like it needed a little bit more flavor. So I went ahead and did that. And next, we're going to add in our vanilla. And a lot of you ask what my favorite vanilla is. And it is the brand La Vencedora. And I always show you guys. This is my favorite brand of vanilla, but if you don't have this, you can use whatever vanilla you have on hand. Here I have my baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And I'm going to add it in to the bowl, or you can add it straight into your mixing bowl. And I'm just going to add my entire amount of flour in. So I'm going to give these a quick mix. And during this part, we want to make sure not to over mix. So we're only going to mix until we no longer see any flour. If you over mix your batter, you're going to get tough cookies. You're going to get, it's not going to be like the texture of a soft, chewy cookie. It's going to be a tough cookie. So when it gets to this point where you no longer see any flour, you stop. And this is where you add in your mix-ins. So for mix-ins, I have white chocolate chips. We're going to mix in some marshmallows, some rainbow sprinkles, and originally in the first recipe or the first batch that I made, I added some of these cookies, but I feel like the taste or the texture got a little bit lost in there. So you could add these. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to skip it. But we are going to use these to decorate it. So I'm adding in my marshmallows, my white chocolate chips, and my rainbow sprinkle confetti. Should I add some of these? I don't know. I feel like I should. So I'm going to just break them. Also, has anybody else tasted these little circus cookies? This is my first time trying them. Like, I bought them this weekend and I tried them and I wasn't a total fan. Like, by themselves, I expected a lot more. I honestly don't know what I was expecting, but when I tasted them, I wasn't very surprised. I don't know. I bought 2 bags, so I might either do a circus animal cheesecake or blondies. So let me know what you guys want to see next with these little cookies. So I added a few in here. There we go. There. And we're going to mix just enough to where we can see that the ingredients incorporate. Okay. Here we go. And the cool thing about these cookies is that you can make them both like 2 ways. So basically what I did is I made gigantic cookies and I stuffed them with these little circus animal crackers or cookies. Or you could also do them the simple way where you just scoop in 1 measurement and then just top them with either marshmallows or your circus cookies. But I feel like the stuffed version is a lot more surprising. It's a lot cooler to look at, so I think it's a good idea. But okay, so this is the fun part. Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys down just a tiny bit so you can see how we're going to put this together. So these are our scoops again. So I actually showed you these 2 weeks ago. Someone asked me if this was the 1 1/4 cup measurement. I'm not sure because I haven't been able to find this one, but I measured it into one of these little measuring cups and it measures a 1/4 cup. So that's why I've been referring to it as the 1/4 cup measure. I need to make sure, and I'll definitely link this in the description box if I find the exact same one. I haven't been able to find the exact one, but this is by Ron Ben Israel, RBI. I think I got it either at Marshall's, Ross, or TJ Maxx. One of those. So what we want to do, and the cool thing about this base recipe before adding in any of this mix-ins is that if you wanted to do a sale of cookies and you wanted to stop at the point before we added any of the confetti, the marshmallows, and the chocolates, you could definitely add something else. Like if you wanted to add in some orange zest and cranberries and dark chocolate, you could definitely do that. You don't have to use the exact same mix-ins. So basically, this is a base recipe that you can use with different flavors, different combinations for depending on the sales that you want to have or the items that you want to add into your business. So to make the giant cookie, you're going to need this 1/4 cup scoop, and we're going to scoop it, place it. And the reason why I have this blue plastic, this is the freezer plastic. Let me show you. So this is the Glad freezer wrap. And basically what you want to do with this is if you want to make the entire batch, you can definitely freeze this batter for up to, I believe I have this information on my last video, but I think it's up to 6 months in the freezer, 3 to 5 days in your refrigerator. So if you wanted to make all of this batch and then just save it for later, it's important to do this step so that your cookie dough doesn't taste like freezer or like refrigerator when you go to bake these cookies. So we did our first layer, and I'm going to smush it down just a tiny bit. I'm going to place my animal cookie, and in this part you can get creative. So what I did for the ones that are in the oven is I actually filled them with marshmallows. So I'm going to do that, and then I took the smaller scoop, I placed another piece, and basically what we want to do here is close it. So I don't know if you've seen on the internet, but there's like big fat cookies or like thick cookies. So this is kind of like what I was going for when I made this recipe. So now to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to top it with marshmallows. Make sure that you dig these right in there, because if you don't, what happened to me the last time is they actually fell off, and when they bake on the pan, it basically, this is just sugar, it's just gonna melt and it's just gonna look weird. It's just gonna be melted sugar, not a marshmallow. So there's our timer for our cookies. So let me take those out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm excited to show you this, but I won't show you until after I show you how to put them together. Okay, so I'm gonna let those cool just a tiny bit, and I'm also going to top, and I think I've said this before, but this is kind of like a little tip if you're going to take photographs of your cookies, like chocolate chip cookies or cookies that have little mix-ins. If you want your photo to look pretty or like aesthetic, make sure to always add at the top mix-ins that are in the batter, because what happens is when you place the scoop like this onto your platter, all you're going to see are the confettis. You don't even know that it has marshmallows or cookies. So you want to place a little bit of this on top, and then they might look overboard, but trust me, it makes a difference, especially when you're trying to make the sale. People eat with their eyes. So I sprinkled just a tiny bit of sprinkles right on top so that our cookies look cute and colorful when they come out. So that's what we're going to do. Or you can also do what I did on, you have two more options. So you can do tiny cookies, which would be this size, or you could just do a regular cookie, which is like that. And that's the ones that I'm going to do. And I'm going to just keep scooping these onto my tray. And definitely let me know what you guys want to see next. I'm excited to show you what I have in the refrigerator, because it's a tutorial that I've been working on for the past week and a half, or actually like for the past week. I finished it today, and I'm really excited to just like share with you what's next on my YouTube channel, because it will be an edited tutorial, and I am going to show you step by step how I created what is in my refrigerator. So I'm excited to show you that. And when you're scooping these onto your plastic. It doesn't matter how close they are because we're going to freeze them anyway, so they'll hold their shape pretty well for us to bake them. And I don't know if you guys know, but on Friday, it's actually my birthday. So I'm baking all the cookies that I've made for our lives, and I'm baking them today so that I can take them with me when I go see my family this weekend. So I can share it with them. There we go. That one's tiny. I think I'm going to save this for last. So these, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did to this giant one. And these are really fun because you can definitely make these for, I don't know, for your friends, for your family. They just look super cute. I've always wanted to make them. And like I said, I've always wanted to try these circus cookies. I was a little bit disappointed, like at the taste by themselves. Like, I don't think they're all that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I didn't taste them right. But I just don't feel like they're all that. You know what I mean? Does anybody else share that sentiment with me? Do you like those cookies? Let's see. Here we go. All right. And some more sprinkles. You can definitely skip all these steps, like adding extra sprinkles and topping it with everything. But if you're going to take a picture and you want the toppings to come out, this step is important because otherwise your cookies are just going to bake and you're not going to be able to see all your toppings. Okay. I like to use the pink ones because I feel like they have more color, obviously, than the white ones. But also, one thing that happens is when you bake them, they burn just a tiny bit, like these little cookies. So they don't look like dark pink or anything. So, you know, anything that you see out there on the internet sometimes is prettier than what it is in real life. So that's also what I try to show you here on my channel, is that baking doesn't have to be like stressful and hard and perfect. It just has to be fun. It has to taste good and, you know, make it a good experience. Otherwise, you won't want to do it again. So have fun with it. There. Okay. So these, I'm going to take them and wrap them really well, because these I'm going to freeze before baking. So remember to always freeze your cookies. This specific recipe, freeze them for at least 30 minutes to an hour before you bake them. Otherwise, the consistency of these is going to be a little bit different. And sometimes when you get cookies that are too flat, it's because they were like the butter is not cold enough. So when you put it in the oven, it just kind of like expands. It doesn't hold its shape. So I'm putting these in the freezer a little bit later. And now I want to show you how the other ones came out. So let's see. I'm going to bring one of these right over and then come over here. So they're still a little bit hot, but let me bring you down so you can see this. Okay. This is how my cookies turned out. So you know when we were building the other cookies, I told you that I only stuffed my cookies with marshmallows and then they just fell like down the center or like to the sides, and it basically just melts and it looks like just sugar. And there's nothing wrong with it, but you just won't see them a little burnt like you do here. So these kind of remind me of s'mores. And that's the point of them. So when you're adding in the top marshmallows, make sure to like dig them in so that when they freeze, they're able to hold in your cookie versus like spilling out the side. So this is the size that the normal ones are going to bake, the ones that we prepared right now. And then these are the giant ones. So when I first baked these, I actually overbaked them just a tiny bit. And the pink of the cookie wasn't showing as much, but I'm so happy with these because they actually didn't burn too much. And the white ones are over here. So if you really want the color of these cookies to show, remember to add the top of the sprinkles, the marshmallow down the center, and then the pink circus animal cookie instead of the white one. I feel like the white one is easier to burn. So these are still hot, but let me see if there's one that I can show you that is a little bit cooler. I'm going to take one off with a little spatula so I can show you. Let's see. Okay. So this is how the back is going to be. You're going to notice that it looks like it might be a little bit golden brown, what people say golden brown. And then at the bottom, depending on what you use, if you use parchment paper, this will start to toast a little bit more. If you use a silicone mat, they'll toast a little bit less. So it's just depending on preference and what you have on hand. But I'm going to break right into this and show you the center of this cookie. Doesn't that remind you of a funfetti cake? That is so cool. So let me know what you think we should name these, and let me know what you thought about these. I think these are super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and place this back, and I'll definitely post the entire recipe in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, and don't forget to turn on the notifications because I do come on, or I try to come on every 2 weeks on live, and I do share tutorials here on my channel. And before you go, I almost forgot to show you what I wanted to show you. So okay. So I've been working on an ocean cake, guys, and I'm not going to unwrap it because it's too much. I don't know. It took me forever to wrap it, but it's an ocean cake, so it's gelatin, and then there's a cake in the center, or an island cake. I don't know what people are calling it, but this is what I wanted to show you that I've been working on. So I'm so excited because I'm working on this tutorial tonight, and I'll probably have it posted on Saturday because Friday is my birthday. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching this live, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.